Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Julie Flygar. I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm president and CEO of Project Sleep, and so excited today to have Chiara with us from Argentina. Hi, Chiara.
Hello, Julie.
How are
Thank you
you?
for fine. I'm really nervous.
Yeah, that's all right. That's part of it. We're so
Yes.
excited to hear your story today, all the way from Argentina. Uh,
Yes.
So before we get started with Chiara's story, I just quickly wanted to mention that we are sharing these stories, Chiara's sharing her story as for education and awareness purposes, but we can't give any medical advice. So if anything about Chiara's story resonates with you and gives you questions about your own medical situation, please bring that to your doctor. Please comment and like and share this video so that Chiara's story all the way from Argentina can reach people all over the world. It helps to, anytime you comment or share, you are helping us raise more awareness to get the word out to more people. So, and Chiara, after she shares her story, we'll have time for some Q&A. So as you think of questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments, and we'll get those to Chiara after she finishes her presentation. And please also share where you're viewing from. It's really cool to see people in different parts of the world that tune in for this. So yeah, please go ahead and share where you are viewing from. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, Chiara, if you want to pull up your slides.
Yes.
All right. Chiara Buzzelli is an occupational therapist in Argentina who loves crafting. She was diagnosed with type 1 narcolepsy with cataplexy at age 22 and is now a speaker with Rising Voices by Project Sleep. Chiara shares her story to increase public awareness and understanding of narcolepsy in Argentina, where very little is known about sleep disorders, and to diminish narcolepsy stigma. It is my huge pleasure to introduce you guys today to Chiara. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you for this invitation. I am excited to share my story, and I will be very happy to answer any questions after. Well, I have always lived and I grew up in Argentina, that is located in South America. Um, I I have grown with two siblings, one eldest brother and one little sister, and my two parents. In these first two pictures, I included them because my childhood, when I think about my childhood, I always think about the trips that we did with my family. This is my eldest brother, and I am the little girl with the red hoodie behind. And Argentina is a large country, so we are very used to grab the car and drive for long hours, and we really, really enjoy ourselves. Here, I am the girl with the puppy in the head. During my childhood, me and my sister, we always enjoyed like dressing up and playing with costumes. We did it all the time, and every time was even more strange what we put on. And these two last pictures, I am here, the one in the back and the one that is flying the air. During my childhood, I was passionate about artistic gym. I practiced the sport since I was 4 years old till I was 16 years old. I really loved the tournaments and the competitions, and I was fully compromised with that. Well, my symptoms began when I was 21 years old in 2016. One morning, I couldn't get up from the bed, and I felt really, really dizzy. So my parents took me to the doctor, and the first thing they thought was that I had like my neck muscles contracted. So they gave me a medication for that, and I went home. But after that, I started like feeling really, really sleepy during the day and having like needing some naps during the day, or feeling extremely sleepy. For example, during the class in school, I was finishing my college. for my occupational therapist degree. So it was very difficult to go through the classes. But after some months, I didn't have any other like melting down or a strange situation. So I even gone like skiing with my boyfriend. And after that, I started again with some symptoms. I was doing my professional practice that I had to complete to get my degree in a working place. And I remember that I was participating of a work meeting and I couldn't help. I was like fighting all the time for my eyes not to close. And I was really embarrassed because I couldn't explain what was happening to me. I didn't know how to tell them that it wasn't lack of interest or I wasn't bored. It was like I am just fighting with my eyes to stay open. One of the first big episodes that I remember, because it was really, really scary, was one time when I was going home back from college. I included this photo because these are my college friends. I just dropped two of them in their houses and I looked for my boyfriend that he lives near my house. And while I was driving, I felt like a big, like something strange in my head and all my muscles like turned off. So I screamed and he just had to like grab the manubrio, I don't know how to say it in English, and the safety brake, so we could park. And he had to take me out from the car and he drove it so that it didn't bother in the street. It was a very, very stressful and scary situation. The only thing I could do was cry and cry and cry. We didn't know what was happening, so it was very, very scary. And after that, I had these meltdowns or the muscles turned off like once or two per week. In this photo, I am the one that is smiling and the other one is my little sister. In the very day she was going to a trip, but she had to walk me to my work because I couldn't be alone any minute because we didn't know when I was going to fall down. And I also put these two pictures here to talk about. I felt like this sleepiness and these strange situations and meltdowns were like interrupting everything I love to do. For example, I was a volunteer in a low-income neighborhood, in an organization in a low-income neighborhood, and I felt like I couldn't go or I couldn't participate because it was very it was going to be dangerous for me or for the children that I was working for. And I also used to participate in church groups and activities. Here I am with some friends in a sport event of the church that I really, really enjoyed and loved to do. But I felt like I was coping with so much sleepiness and I was so tired that during 2016 and 2017, I just participated in activities related to study and work because I couldn't do anything else. That made me feel very, very angry because I'm a person that likes to do lots of things and is really passionate about them. And I felt like I was losing myself. And that's something that I didn't know what was like limiting me, no? Well, so there it started the road to diagnosis, that it was I felt it like a very long road. It was a complete year from March 2016 till March 2017. I didn't have any diagnosis. I went to the doctor because I knew something was wrong. But when I went, he sent me to lots of studies like cardiological, traumatological, an oculist, neurophysiological, like they were studying me everywhere and all the studies said that there was nothing wrong. So I was on the one side, like relieved, but also frustrated because I know there is something wrong and we are not finding it, so I can't fight against it. So I had to do a lot of studies, even some they were very painful. And after I think that 10 months after doing every study we found, my parents decided to Google my symptoms because they didn't know what else to do. And then when they asked me if they could show the printed information to my doctor, I was like, I didn't want to do it because I think that Google is not good for looking for answers in health related stuff. But well, they were really insisting me to do it, so I I accepted it, and we showed it to one of the neurologists that I was seeing in that time. That it was like the 5th one that I saw, and when he read about the cataplexy and narcolepsy information that my parents brought to the consult, he asked us to wait for him, that he was going to consult with some other doctors. And he returned after like 40 minutes and told us that it could be possible that it would be narcolepsy, but he had to do some more tests to confirm it. And at that time, I felt like, again, on the one hand, relieved because, okay, we are near to a possible diagnosis, so I will be able to fight against this. But I was also really anguished and scared because the only information that I had about narcolepsy was from an old video in YouTube, that it was from a girl that was trying to do a yoga class, and she couldn't because she kept on falling to the floor, and she couldn't complete it. So I didn't want to relate my experience to that video. I was like, no way. And I forgot to say that at first I was diagnosed with epilepsy and even medicated for epilepsy for 1 or 2 months. But when I saw an epilepsy specialist, he told me, no, you don't have anything near epilepsy, so you should continue searching. So I had like a little hope that when I saw a sleep specialist, he will tell me, no, you don't have narcolepsy, but that didn't happen. But well, it happens. Narcolepsy turns out to be a chronic neurological disorder that impairs the brain's ability to regulate the sleep-wake cycle. It affects approximately 1 in 2,000 people, which means that approximately 22,000 people in Argentina have narcolepsy. Well, the major symptoms of narcolepsy are excessive daytime sleepiness, that are periods of extreme sleepiness during the day that feel comparable to how someone without narcolepsy would feel after staying awake from 48 to 72 hours. Remember when I told you that about my eyes closing during the work meeting? Well, that is an example of excessive daytime sleepiness. We can't fight against it. Cataplexy is a striking, sudden episodes of muscle weakness, usually triggered by strong emotions such as laughter, exhilaration, surprise, or anger. The severity may vary from a slackening of the jaw or buckling of the knees to falling down. The duration may be for a few seconds to several minutes, and the person may remains fully conscious, even if unable to speak during the episode. That is what happened to me while I was driving my car. And also, for example, it happened to me when I finished my post-grade exam. I was really, really nervous. So after I crossed the door, I melted down immediately. I think that the trigger was clearly the stress of the exam. There is also hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations that are visual, auditory, or tactile hallucinations upon falling asleep or waking up. This can be frightening and confusing. Sleep paralysis is the inability to move for a few seconds or minutes upon falling asleep or waking up. It is often accompanied with hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucinations. And it's important to know that people without narcolepsy can experience these hallucinations and sleep paralysis. In fact, about 1/3 of all people experience this at some point in their lives, usually during periods of high stress or poor sleep. For people with narcolepsy, these are much more frequent and consistent over time. I have never had nor hallucinations nor sleep paralysis. I've never experienced none of them. And the last one is disrupted nighttime sleep, that unlike public perceptions, people with narcolepsy do not sleep all the time. Timing of sleepiness is off with narcolepsy, so one may find sleepiness during the day, but struggle to sleep at night. I think I feel during the night that I slept perfectly, but I have some nights that are better than others. Some nights I really have this interrupted sleep, and I realize because I get to like wake up and go to sleep again, or I move a lot. My husband always tells me that. And there are some nights that I feel like it was like really a soothing sleep, but it's from night to night now. And it's also, there are two forms of narcolepsy, narcolepsy with cataplexy and narcolepsy without cataplexy. Recent research suggests that narcolepsy with cataplexy is caused by a lack of hypocretin, a key neurotransmitter that helps sustain alertness and regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Less is known about narcolepsy without cataplexy. And I live with narcolepsy with cataplexy. Well, the diagnosis typically includes a 24-hour sleep study that includes a nighttime portion, that is the polysomnogram, and the daytime nap portion, that is the multiple sleep latency test to record one's brain waves. The diagnosis is mainly based on how quickly and frequently one goes into rapid eye movement, that is the REM, dream sleep stage during these tests. Here I am having breakfast because here in Argentina at least, is common that you do like everything together. You have the nighttime portion, the polysomnogram, then you wake up and then you do the naps. So when I woke up, I had my my breakfast and then I continued. And I remember that in the multiple sleep latency tests is like you have to do 5 naps of 20 minutes separated by an hour between them. And I remember that I got to the REM stage, that is the dreaming stage of the sleep, in less than 5 minutes in all of the naps. So it was clearly narcolepsy what I had. Well, the treatment, there is currently no cure for narcolepsy, but treatment for symptom management varies widely by person, but it may include nighttime and histamine-directed medications to decrease excessive daytime sleepiness and cataplexy, wake-promoting or stimulant medications to increase alertness, antidepressant medication to decrease cataplexy, and scheduled daytime naps. Coping strategies vary widely by person, but may include social support, such as meetup groups or social media, improvement in general health and wellness through sleep hygiene, diet, and fitness. First, in my case, I was indicated just to have an antidepressant medication to decrease the cataplexy episodes. But as I told the neurologist that I had a lot of daytime sleepiness, he added wake promoting or a stimulant medication to have it once a day. And it was good because I just have to have my medication during the morning and then I forget about medications. I have every day a 20 minutes nap. When I used to be in a residency, like a fellowship. So I did my nap in my workplace. That was very good. And now I can do it before I go to my work, so I can feel okay during my work. Once I went to my doctor and I told him that I was sad because I couldn't participate from some activities that my friends were doing. I was like 23, 24 years old, and I couldn't go dancing or to parties, or I couldn't stay up late. And he was like determined that I should live the life that I wanted to live and the life that the girls of my age were living also. So he gave me one more medication to have it when I wanted to stay awake longer, and that was very, very good because it like increased my quality of life very strongly. And I am doing like a ketogenic diet. I have been in this diet for 1.5 years now, and the ketogenic diet, it's like it is very high in fats and very low in carbo, and this helps me with the daytime sleepiness. And I also do some fitness like 2 times a week. Well, life with narcolepsy. I think that these pictures are really meaningful to me. Here, well, I got married, and it was a very challenging time because as we spoke before, cataplexy is usually triggered by strong emotions, and we were all like, what is going to happen when she walks to the aisle? But well, these coping strategies, the medication, the naps, and the sleep hygiene, like going to sleep every night at the same time and waking up every day at the same time, they really, really helped me to be able to participate in these important events of my life. Of course, I had to adjust my timetable and my routine to be able to have naps or to go to sleep at a determined time. For example, here I am sleeping in a rock, but this nap enabled me to do a very, very nice trekking after that. And this is like how I live my life. I think that the naps are like the key to the door to live all the experiences. Sometimes I get angry because I have to have a nap and I don't want to, or I missed some things because of the sleep routine. But I really know after all that they are the ones that enable me to participate of all that I do. I had to drop some activities, of course, because I used to participate in lots of them and I don't have any more that energy. But I could prioritize the ones that I really wanted to maintain, like my work, my friends, my family, traveling. And I discovered like even more my love for handcrafts. I had to drop like gymnastics or some extreme activities. But like I used to do kangu jump. I had to stop that, but I really love handcrafts and I feel like it's like an activity where I don't have any risk on doing them. And what is also very helpful to me is that whenever I start a new activity or I go to like a new environment with new people, I always try to advertise them, like yes, tell them about my narcolepsy and tell them what they should do if a cataplexy episode happens, so that I can be there like more relaxed and I will know that they will know how to react and what to do and what they should do to help me. That is something that I do all the time because it helps me a lot. And I also included my husband in these pictures because he is like my rock. Of course, I am very positive about my life and narcolepsy, but some days are not so positive when I don't feel well. And he's always the one that is there to help me to organize my routine so that I can participate in all that I want to participate, or he can he's always like caring for me, and it's very good. Well, and the future, I really learned how to ask for help, and that is very, very good. And I accepted that I will need help in lots of activities or in lots of situations, but that is nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just making community and enjoying all the people that I have, because here I included a photo of my friends. I am the one in the middle because this was my bachelor party that they took me to Mexico, and I was able to travel and do all the activities that we wanted to do there. And they are also very supportive. Here I am the one in white. I was finishing my residency with my work friends. Here I am doing my work. I work in a neurological rehabilitation center. And this was like a very important moment. I could travel by myself to Paris to participate in a congress, in the World Federation of Occupational Therapy Congress, to present 2 of my investigation works. So it is like I loved this moment of the presentation, because it helped me to see all that I got to achieve with narcolepsy. Like, even though I have narcolepsy, I can do all of these things. I feel like really, really satisfied with my routine, with my activities, with my professional practice. And I can do all of this because I have a really, really supportive family and friends and husbands. Like, they are always there. They also like changed some routines. We used to, like, for example, have dinner very late with my friends, and now we try to get together earlier so that I can go and I don't have to go to sleep so late. And so all of that situations help me to not feel like I am losing myself and I am losing from participating in social situations that they are very important to me. Well, because of low awareness, even among physicians and misperceptions, there is an average of 8 to 15 years between narcolepsy symptom onset and diagnosis. It's estimated that the majority of people with narcolepsy are currently undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. Common misdiagnoses include epilepsy, depression, and schizophrenia. Well, it took me 1 year to get diagnosed, and as I said before, I was diagnosed first with epilepsy, and well, I think that stigma and misunderstanding are very important to fight with, because if we are not diagnosed, we can't fight, or we can't be better, or we can receive the treatment that we need. And I think of narcolepsy not as a bad word or as a stigma. Is like the word that enabled me to continue with my life. So it is very, very important to raise awareness, mostly among physicians. So there is no people living 15 years without a diagnosis and without a treatment, no? Oh, sorry. And, no, yes, okay. And I am sharing my story today as part of Raising Voices, that is a program on the nonprofit organization Project Sleep, which empowers patient advocates to share their stories and improve public understanding of sleep disorders. Thank you for listening to my story.
Yay! Great job, Chiara.
Sorry if the English wasn't great. I was very
so great, so great. You want to go ahead and unshare your screen there so we can
Yes,
just
of course.
us.
Uy.
I know that I'm clapping on behalf of so many people. We have a great audience with you today, some family members that are supporting you. It's really always so great to see that that family support. So big shout out to, I think, your sister, your brother, a proud grandmother and mother. Yeah, so wow. Gosh, I think there's so many things that you said that were so powerful. One of the things really early on that you said was about this idea that if you didn't know what it was, you couldn't fight against it yet, you know? I just think that's just such a powerful way of saying that, and just why what you're doing now to share your story is so important. Um, um, so folks, send in your questions if you have questions for Chiara. I have a few, and we have a few in the chat already. So I guess first and foremost is just to hear a little bit more about, oh, don't forget about, so Nico is also here to support you. And so we're just wondering a little bit more about crafting. I'm so glad that you found such like a great hobby, and
Yes,
tell
I
us
love
more
it.
about it.
Well, I am 5 years from now, I am doing pottery classes. I really, really love it. Now my mother started with me, so it's an activity that we share. And my grandmother taught me how to knit and how to do embroidery. So I also really enjoyed that. And all my house is full by my handcrafts. Like I do like the plates of my house, and then I do even some clothes for me. I love like putting my things all over the place.
Do you have any like favorite thing that you've created?
Well, now I have some plates that I did last in pottery, like these.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
My husband thinks that they're too little for the food, so they will be for the dessert, but I love them.
They look perfect for dessert, which is the best part of the meal anyway. So, oh, that's
Yes,
beautiful. Wow. I love that. Uh,
yes.
and you made a favorite piece of clothing through knitting?
Yes. I have this that I needed for myself. That is like a chest.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And this is from embroidery that my grandma taught me how to do it.
Oh my gosh.
And these are the I have them in the living room. So
Yeah.
they're like everywhere.
Wow. So does it take a long time to do something like that?
Hmm, yes, but I really enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I enjoy the process. So I am not so anxious about finishing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really good to have something that's almost like meditative, sort of, or
Yes,
something to do with your hands. So I do a lot of
yes.
jigsaw puzzles, but I think your hobby is a little bit more productive. Awesome. And so also a little bit more about your work and everything you're doing there, because I think it's pretty unique and special to be someone with like an invisible neurological condition that's also helping
Yes.
people with neurological conditions.
Well, I work with adults with neurological disabilities, mostly stroke, traumatic brain injury, and spinal cord injury. So what we like share, like me and my patients, is that something interrupted the way we were living, and we had to learn a new way to live. And I think that narcolepsy has given me like a new tool to be closer to my patients, to know that I can empathize with them in some point. For example, I had been having my baths sitting down for a long time. Not now because I feel better now, but for 3 years or more, I had to bath like sitting down in a chair. And when I tell that to my patients, they feel like really surprised because they don't imagine that, and they see that I can walk, but I still have my bath like sitting down. And there is when I can tell them it's just for security, and it gives me more independency. Like, if not, my sister would have been to be there, like holding me while I bath. And if I am sitting down, I can do it by myself and in a safe way. So it gives me like a closer, uh, I feel closer to them. And it's very, very nice. It is also very challenging because I live every day with very difficult situations with the patients. So I have to learn to not bring them home, and so that it won't make a trigger for a cataplexy. But I really love what I do, and I am really compromised with that. And I feel grateful that I can participate of my work, because at the first months of the symptoms, I remember crying with my mother and telling her that I was scared that I would never be able to have a job. So now I can see myself like finishing my residency and having the work that I love, is like, well, I can do it.
It's amazing. It's so powerful. And I'm just glad you're doing something that, if you have to be tired and deal with narcolepsy, to do something that you love and that gives you energy, maybe in a certain way, is just
Yes.
really important. So
Yes.
that's so amazing. And I think like what you said about relating to your patients is so important. I think sometimes we have this thought of like medical professionals should be superheroes that don't have anything wrong
Claro.
with them.
Yes.
And it's like probably, I think, really more the opposite would be true if we had more people that were like us, that were medical professionals and that we knew like, oh, they're dealing with stuff too. Like you said
Yes.
about the taking the bath is just such a powerful example of that. So yeah, we're just cheering for you really, really, really loudly. That's so exciting. And so I was wondering how you also got connected to Project Sleep and decided to become a Rising Voices speaker.
Well, a very strong coping strategy that I found was the social media and the meet groups. Of course, I didn't know anyone with narcolepsy. So I started looking for, like, I don't know, Facebook groups or Instagram accounts that share some stories or information. I First I saw Wake Up Narcolepsy, and then I found in Instagram Project Sleep. And when I think that I signed up for some emails to get to me with the nerd alert stuff and all that. And I got a mail where it talked about raising the Raising Voices project. And I had like this idea that I had to speak about what I was living, because I knew that there were lots of people that had it and they were not diagnosed, or they were diagnosed but they felt all alone. And when in the beginning, when I found the Facebook groups where I could read about another people experience, and it was very similar to mine, it was like, okay, I'm not alone. And it helped me to understand lots of things. For example, even every time I had a cataplexy episode, I cried. And in that group, there were a lot of people that had the same thing. So it was like, okay, I'm not crazy, or I am not, like, I don't know, alone. So I I signed up for Rising Voices, and they accepted me, and I really loved it.
That's so awesome. It's so nice to know that we can reach people, that you can find us through, all the other stuff in social media. It's so powerful that I can
Yes.
sit here in Los Angeles and you in Argentina and do this is just so cool. Um,
Yes.
so I know World Narcolepsy Day is just around the corner, which is why we're doing this. So this is a pretty big celebration, and I know how much energy and doing a presentation like this takes. So thank you again for doing this. But I was kind of wondering, on September 22nd, on World Narcolepsy Day, are you going to do anything different or special on the day?
I haven't thought about that, but I definitely want to do something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Even just to do something nice for yourself, I think,
Yes.
use it as an opportunity to, I don't know, do something special for you. So yeah, because this
Perfect.
is such a big thing that you're doing today for the community. All right, we had a question here that says, in spite of everything you've been through, what is something narcolepsy has taught you about yourself?
Uh, the well, it showed me how resilient I can be and the strength that I have, even though sometimes I doubt about it. I had to learn how to stop and have a slower routine without lots of activities at the same time. And I learned that it was okay to live like that, that it was better. And I really learned how to ask for help and accept help. And that is not something bad to ask, but it's something that enables me to continue with my life, and it also makes me closer to my people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, such a powerful way of putting that. That gave me goosebumps. And then I believe this is your sister saying, asking you, do you feel proud of yourself? And she says, I know I am.
It's difficult for me to say I'm proud of myself. I think I'm proud of all that I have achieved, and I am seeking for more.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Just lots of love. Someone saying, Aga's saying, invite her to Los Angeles. That sounds awesome. Love to have you come visit in Los Angeles. Yeah, and or visit Argentina. So that's,
Of course.
yeah, so great. I just love this community, the connections we make around the world. We can be so far away, but when you describe something like cataplexy, and I live with that too, you know,
Yes.
it's just like you're next door, and I know you so well, even
Yes.
though, you know, this is our first time meeting on a Zoom. So, well, I don't see any other questions here. Is there anything else that you want to add that you feel like you just didn't get a chance to say?
No, just that I'm grateful with all the people that surround me, my friends, my family, my husband, and even my work like companions, friends. I am really grateful also to them because they have never made me feel like my narcolepsy is something that bothers them or makes their life harder. And it's like they take it with complete like it's something natural, like and my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law, even they tell me, yeah, Chiara, you have to go to sleep, and it's fine. And I go to sleep like 20 minutes, and everything is okay, and everything is uh, the same that I went. Like they just wash the dishes, like they make me feel really, really comfortable, and that makes my experience of narcolepsy much lighter.
That's
So thank you.
amazing. That's so important too for, I think, younger people with narcolepsy will often ask questions about, you know, relationships and how that can go. And so there are amazing people out there that can be understanding and you know, so just hearing that is so fantastic. I think we'll cover narcolepsy in relationships coming up in a few months, I believe, on the Nerd Alert series. So we'll get into more narcolepsy and romance then.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and sorry, I think that it's really important for the people that live with narcolepsy to explain or tell what they need. Like, if you don't need for everyone to be staring at you while you're having a cataplexy event, you have to say it, because nobody knows what to do, and nobody knows what you want or what you need. So I think that my people are the best, but I also think that I helped to create that community, because I could speak and tell them what I needed in each event, and we learned from each other, like what we should do together for me to go on. So that's good.
Yeah, that's such an important point. And even people with narcolepsy can vary what they would want, you know? So yeah, so maybe what I would like during cataplexy would be different than you. So, you know, and no one would know automatically. So that's such a good point. You know, having to speak up for yourself and figure out what you need and what you want is kind of like a first step, I guess, to all that support. So, Well, thank you again to all the amazing supporters that are on here today and the Project Sleep community that are supporting you. We're part of your long distance family here in the United States and around the world. So we're just so grateful to you, Chiara, and cheering so loudly for your continued efforts, both at work and personally, and all of your awareness. It's just so powerful. So I think with
Thank
that,
you.
we'll go ahead and call it a day here. We'll be back next week. We'll have a story from Australia. Alex is going to tell her story, so that will be really cool. And then we just decided a little bit earlier before the broadcast that we'll be back with Chiara soon to do this in Spanish. Yay!
Spanish.
Yay! That'll be so great. So we can continue to reach more people. So
Great.
thank you again, Chiara. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a nice rest of the week and a weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Chiara. Bye-bye.